Prajna, and you should know that, whenever I give examples of students doing internship, you're on top of my list. The reason is, and I was a student in ITK. I'm telling you, I really didn't have the courage that you had to write to so many professors, not only in Institute of Sciences, right? But even in the UK or even to Harvard. I wouldn't think that even now I would have that kind of confidence to do so. So you should know.
Yeah, I think that kind of confidence, I was the same way at the beginning of my second year. Instead of reaching out to these professors, I tried to apply to programs. But then I realized the number of programs for computational biology is so low because the number of people that do that in India is so low.
Sure.
And I realized the only way that I was going to be able to pursue this field that I found super exciting was if I put myself out there. So it was kind of out of force, but I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, so you are pretty much, even when I do webinars and I ask in triple IIT or student, are you doing an internship? And I say, you know what Prajna did, So it's something exceptional that you did. One other thing, it was exciting was that because of the internship she did and the colleges she applied for a master's and a Ph.D., the doors that opened up to her were extraordinary, and I've never seen that happen. I've seen that, other than a very few students like Sumit or something, I've never seen it happen to a student in an ITK. And it happened to you, isn't it? Tell that story as well.
Yeah. I think one thing that people underestimate a lot about science these days is not just really working hard, because that's always going to be important, but another thing is just putting yourself out there and networking. Because the letters of recommendation that you get, the word of mouth that goes around about you in scientific networks is what gets you, it gets your foot in there. Otherwise, you have this huge door and you have to push it open yourself. But this word of mouth, letters of recommendation from well-known academics is what opens these doors for you. And that was something that, initially I was scared of doing because I thought, I'm just a second-year undergrad. What if I go there, say something stupid, and then they think I'm stupid for, all of my life? But I think once I overcame that fear, I think the one thing that I always used to tell myself that I remember now is these professors have so much to do that you're not going to occupy even 0.5% of their brain space. They have so many more things on their mind that they would rather not spend time thinking about how stupid you are. And that I used to repeat that in my head whenever I had a question, I had an offer of collaboration or just a request to take me on as an intern, because these professors get thousands and thousands of requests like this every week, and they're not going to spend time considering you stupid or considering your request in any way not genuine or something like that. So what helped me was putting myself out there, getting this really big, really strong network of professors that always have my back. And once I had that, I think it was very easy for me to get my foot in the door at top programs across the world for my PhD.
You did your engineering in CS and now you're going to bioinformatics. Was it hard? What are the challenges you faced? There are students who are coming with undergrad in bioinformatics and then...
Yeah. I think I had both strengths and weaknesses coming from a background in computer science. Right now, bioinformatics, computational biology, biomolecular engineering, all of these fields are extremely diverse, extremely interdisciplinary, and students that come into these fields all often have extremely different backgrounds. Like me, a lot of us are from computer science backgrounds. There are people from pure biology backgrounds, people from pure statistics backgrounds, and also, again, people from pure bioinformatics backgrounds. What sets me apart and what sets people that came from pure biology departments apart is just how strong we are in our domains, that we just had to pick up on the biology or pick up on the coding skills to be on par with the people from bioinformatics. I think they don't have the depth of computer science research that I came with, but I didn't have the depth of biology that they knew. So I think it all balanced out in that way. But in terms of just getting into a graduate program, it was going to be pretty much impossible for me to get into a graduate program without significant amount of research experience while applying. Because, again, I wouldn't have any coursework in biology, and I think it does not even have a biology department. or a bioinformatics department. There's one professor that works on bioinformatics adjacent stuff. But apart from that, it doesn't really have that right now. But I didn't let that stop me. It doesn't matter if I don't have courses in biology in my transcript. What I made sure to do was that I did research in diverse areas of biology to show to the people in the panel for my admissions that I have the ability to pick up on biological concepts as I work on projects. I have the ability to pick up on diverse biological topics and apply them immediately and get interesting research results. So I think that's what helped me, even despite my CS background.
So, Prajna, you're in Bangalore, and I'm sure you've got relatives who come and says, "What is this bioinformatics?"
Yeah.
How do you answer this question? How would you answer this question to the students of CFAL?
Yeah, I think my go-to example, even though that's not what I work on, is how much computer science has changed the field of drug discovery, for example.
Okay.
So if you think about one disease and the number of chemical compounds that would possibly act as a drug for this disease, that number is probably in the thousands. But no company can actually go in and test each of these compounds. It would, and especially not on humans, of course. Test them on mice, test them on rats. These thousands of compounds. It's it's a waste of time, waste of resources, and not many companies are going to take such an undertaking. What a field like bioinformatics does is it cuts down this list of candidates of possible drugs for this disease, because it uses computational modeling to see which are completely non-viable candidates. No self-respecting doctor would actually take in like a computer's advice, but what they would do is just believe a computer when it says, okay, this is completely not going to happen because of these kind of chemical reactions going to take place. So, for example, in this, what a computer model would do, a drug discovery system would do, is it would cut down these thousands and thousands of candidate drugs into a much smaller, much manageable subset, maybe in 2 digits, that a company can actually go in and test. So this is one small example of what computational biology is capable of. These huge drug discovery companies, half of their employees are computational biologists. One of the biggest reasons we got a COVID-19 vaccine so quickly was that we have computational biology at the forefront of these industries. So what I do is slightly different. I do something called computational genomics, where I build tools to study the genome. The genome is the collection of all our DNA in our entire body. So slightly different from drug discovery, but the same principle. Computational biology helps understand biology at a level that was not possible before, either due to just inability to digest that sheer amount of data, or just inability to perform computations at that level.
So, where do you see, for example, right now, most of the things are becoming interdisciplinary? Where do you see bioinformatics, other than pharmaceutical industries, taking it forward? Where else do you see it?
Yeah. So bioinformatics, apart from the pharmaceutical industry, it is. Of course, the pharmaceutical industry and the entire clinical space is one of the biggest applications of bioinformatics. But apart from that, if you're someone interested in pure science, pure research, my work, for example, is extremely involved in evolutionary and conservation genomics. Conservation genomics is a field that's coming up very much these days, and especially if you're an environmentalist of any kind, it's a very interesting field to be in, where we try to use insights that we gain from our genomics work to basically reverse the process of extinction. Reverse is not the exact word I would use, but yeah. So there's conservation genomics, and apart from that, there's also all sorts of bioengineering adjacent stuff. So there's like bioelectronics always uses bioinformatics as the interface to go between the biological system and the electronic system. So there's always a lot of work to be done in that field. And at least that's all comes to mind right now. I think most of our work is in the pharmaceutical health space.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in India, let's say a student wants to get into bioinformatics, biomedical, or these which are both engineering as well as biology? Which colleges in India are good as per you?
I think any college that has a strong computer science program will inevitably have one or two professors that do bioinformatics. At least as far as I know, none of the IITs or the NITs have a bioinformatics program. But NITK had one professor that did some sort of health informatics. There are a few at IIT Madras. There are a lot of people at IISc Bangalore who do it, who do some sort of computational biology or bioinformatics work. I think you would do well to pick a program either that has a strong CS faculty that have people in bioinformatics, strong biotech faculty that do computational work, or programs with strong biology programs. Universities with strong biology programs like ISER Pune, which also have certain biology faculty doing computational work. So you won't find a computational biology department at most of the top institutes right now, at least. But if you go into these faculty websites and dig in through what their research interests are, I can guarantee you'll pick out at least one or two faculties at every one of the top universities in their CS departments, in their biotech departments that do bioinformatics. And I know this because that's what I did when I was digging through people's websites to apply for internships in my second year. So I can guarantee that much.
What is the, for example, if you say the cutting edge research that's happening in bioinformatics, or the research papers are getting written right now, what are the topics right now?
There's a lot of things going on. So the part that I'm closest to is very exciting, and I love talking about this a lot, is the Human Genome Project was launched in the early 2000s, as a lot of us know, and they published the first complete human genome back in 2003. UCSC, my university, was a huge part of that effort. But when they did call it complete, it wasn't truly complete in that it still had a lot of gaps. It was about 92% complete. So recently, about 2 years ago, researchers from all over the world again completed these genomes to something they call the telomere to telomere. So they completed every chromosome from one telomere to the other, and now we have what are still not 100% complete, but extremely, extremely close to 100% complete genomes of human and now primates and so on. So a huge effort in the genomic space right now is to have extremely high quality genomes. And what does an extremely high quality genome mean? So an extremely high quality genome just means that what base DNA, what base of the DNA, it could be A, C, G, or T, fits in every single position of the DNA. So the DNA is like 3 billion base pairs long, but these extremely accurate genomes have the exact base in each position. So we have such high quality genomes now, which means a lot for evolutionary genomics. It means a lot for pharmaceutical industry because you're able to zoom in on with accuracy at every single mutation that could be causing a disease in an individual. So that's something really exciting going on in genomics right now. There's a lot of neuroengineering, bioinformatics going on as well. So people now grow brain organoids in the lab, so which are like tiny brains, because you can't really experiment on human brains. So you experiment on tiny human brain organoids, and people are now learning how to grow these in the International Space Station. They're learning how the neural networks in the brain work, and then trying to emulate that in the neural networks that we have in the artificial intelligence space. So there's a lot of really exciting things in this huge broad spectrum that bioinformatics really holds. It's an extremely broad field. So any field of biology that exists, and biology is already so big, you have a computational aspect to it right now.
Too complicated my brain. But it sounds really interesting, and we generally thought like, hey, the genome is done, it gets, in terms of money being, or startups being started, or fundings coming in bioinformatics. What's happening there? Which fields are getting funded? Which are the new startups that are coming up in bioinformatics?
Yeah. Now with ChatGPT and the other large language models booming, there's something called DNA language models or protein language models that are coming up, which basically, a large language model that's, something like what ChatGPT does, is basically learns patterns from the human language, like our spoken natural languages. A DNA language model is the same, but with DNA. So the letters are just A, C, T, and G, and it learns patterns and tries to predict different kind of outcomes from these. So DNA language models are becoming huge right now. So there's a lot of startups that are starting out, trying to use DNA language models to predict different sort of outcomes. So AI in biology is becoming a huge thing. There's a lot of money going into AI and biology. There's a lot of money going into neuroengineering right now. I think and anything related to health is always going to be a top priority to be funded as well. So the pharmaceutical industry also has a ton of money to do research on many drugs, many vaccines, and so on. So these extremely established avenues to get into as well.
Now, listening to you, makes me feel that more than CS, there's more interesting work that's going on.
That's what I aim to do.
I hope that you get that too as well. So thank you, Prajna, and that's an exciting talk.
Yeah,
I hope you as well has got a few things about bioinformatics, and I hope you take Prajna as a role model as well, and seek the path that she has done. You can go to any college. Sometimes you don't get into colleges that you really want to get into, but no matter where you end up, if you take the approach that you're going to do great internships, you're going to reach out to people, put yourself out there, and pursue your interest, no matter whatever it is, you can do really well. And I hope that you got that from Prajna. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.